Jason, it makes me. My wife texted me and said Jason's at the gate, and I just started reflecting in the years that I've been a fan of Jason and Saigon Kick, and the fact that you're at my gate in my house right now, and how I thought that you were such a dick the first time I met you.
Thank you.
I mean, when I met you, like as a kid, and you were in the band, and you're not a dick, but you were just so standoffish. I thought this guy will never be.
It's
cool.
just a weird series of circumstances because I was going on the celebrity tour to see where you fell,
right?
And I didn't realize the studio was actually
the idiots that fall.
The bus is out front. I was like, let me.
Yeah. That's hilarious. It's good to see you guys, man.
Thanks so much for having us.
I'm excited for the show. Now I don't know. I feel like the kid in the middle of divorce. Is this a Saigon Kick show? Are we allowed to say that? Anybody getting sued?
It's a Saigon Kick tribute to us show by ourselves. We're a tribute band to Saigon Kick.
Exactly.
With more than half of the original members. So it's almost like a.
Who is the more than half? Jason is here. Phil is here. Who are the other? That's
the Water record. There was only 3 of us, so
God.
it's 66% of the lineup of that record.
Who is on the Water record bass wise? Was that
Chris McClernand, who was also actually one in a very unique series of circumstances. We don't hate him. He
we don't hate him.
No, he was just dealing with some health issues.
Gotcha. Did he fall too?
He fell.
Okay.
He was so upset over here. He's in.
Phil, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
There was a girl.
Nope.
Yep, I guarantee it.
Yes.
There was a girl that was from here whose boyfriend played in a band. I don't remember her name. This is some years ago. Let's say maybe even 10 years ago. And you guys did a podcast together? Is that possible? You did some sort of show together. And she was... I would have probably pushed my wife off a cliff for her. She was so beautiful. And then I asked her if you guys have ever had sex, and she was very offended by that. She said no, and... I don't know. She went, and that was the last time I ever talked to her.
We did a podcast.
Was it a podcast?
I think that's what Phil called it.
It was a long time ago. So if you did if it was a podcast, maybe you did a radio show or something. It was some sort of broadcast show that you did with this girl. I know. I didn't know if you'd remember, but I've been dying to ask you if you really did have sex with her. I can't remember her name. If you said it, I might know.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I never really did. I did. No.
It was in the MySpace days. I can tell you that.
Was it maybe an interview that she was doing? Was he like
maybe did you do some sort of? You were more of a partner with her than her interviewing you. I can tell you that. So you did some sort of project together.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll revisit that.
In what state?
I think you were in maybe California. Yeah, but she was from here. I don't know if she traveled or what she did. There was one part I remember seeing the two of you on a couch together.
You sure that was a podcast?
No.
Are you? That's is it Addie Juniper?
Yes.
Yeah.
Addie, that was the name. You're right. God damn, that girl was beautiful.
Yeah, she's a stunner. She's wonderful. Actually.
Strangely enough, I used to dance under the name Juniper. I don't know if you guys remember that back at the airport.
Yes.
Did you hook up with her or no?
With Addie?
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, yeah.
She strongly denied it. That's why I was...
I don't blame her.
Yeah, well, she had a boyfriend at the time. So.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get... Yeah.
No, it is a long time ago. I'm just saying.
She's wonderful.
I just was...
I know her boyfriend.
No way that you did not at least try that if you had the opportunity because she was that hot.
Yeah. No, yeah. She's wonderful, but we were all in the same industry.
Yeah.
And so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Her boyfriend was well aware, is what I'm trying to say.
Probably.
Yeah. Was that his stage name? Well aware.
well aware. Now introduce... Whoa. First day on the job. Introduce the other guys on the this is in the band. How does it work? Okay.
Well, I've known Steven for a lifetime, and Steven Gibbs going to be kind enough to play bass for us.
Now, how do you meet Steven?
Tinder?
No, it was Grindr.
Yeah.
Jail.
I kept swiping, and eventually. No, I've known Steve because Steven played with Zach Wilde for a long time in Black Label, and we'd and he was also a kid when Saigon Kick was coming up in the scene, so we kind of had always floated around.
Did you live in South Florida?
Yeah, I grew up in South Florida.
What other, did you play in local bands down there or no?
Yeah, that's where I started.
What bands?
And everything.
I lived down there when they were popping down there. I was in Miami.
I used to be in a band called Subculture.
Okay.
And we would open up for Manson a lot.
Dude, people don't realize how Marilyn Manson's a local band. Marilyn Manson, the Spooky Kids used to play in Ybor City all the time. When I lived in Miami, they were down at the beach all the time playing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he wrote the first articles on Saigon Kick. He was a journalist, and like he was like in a warehouse. Actually, on the first record, there's a pair of combat boots that have daisies on them for anybody who actually has it, and he painted those.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember living in Miami Lakes and driving to this record store in I forgot the name of the place, but it was in a mall somewhere, and him and Twiggy worked there.
Yeah.
And we would go down there because they'd have imports and they'd have all these things you could buy there, so we'd have to make the trek over there to go to that store. And me and Moose would go there, and Marilyn Manson would be there. And I mean, I'm a pretty big guy, and I'm still intimidated by him because he's such a not when he was in the record store, but like meeting him now with them stupid contacts in and all that stuff, I still have nightmares about that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a horror guy. I don't like any of that stuff. So when I see it, it stays on my mind. And I was reading his book when I was younger, and there's a bunch of pictures in there of him with like deer and stuff. It's just weird.
He was a
imagery.
super. I mean, again, not pretend like we're super close now, but back in the day we were relatively close. And I mean, he's a super smart guy, and he knew in the same way. I mean, in a different kind of genre, but the same way Bowie knew how to push cultural buttons.
Yes.
You know, he was very much like that. He was like, if I do this, this will happen. If I can do that,
Very much
it'll
Alice
cause
Cooper
this.
like. He
really
he
smart
knew
about
exactly
it.
what he was doing. Yeah. He was no dummy.
Yeah.
All right, so you're playing bass, you're playing drums, and what are you doing?
I'm playing guitar.
Oh man, another guitar player. That's
Yeah.
competition for you.
Just for all the stuff I don't know how
Wait
to
a
play
minute.
anymore.
Is that what you do? No, I just got in. I have no
I
idea.
also get the coffee.
That's right.
Now you guys are rehearsing for a show that is happening next month.
Actually, we're playing in Chicago on Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you're rehearsing. Is this the first show back? The Chicago show?
Chicago will be the first show this Friday.
Chicago's big for a Saigon Kick, huh?
We'll soon find out, won't we?
Well, you did the last time you guys were going around. That was one of your shows. Because Pete and I were going to head out there.
Yeah, I'm at the point in my life, and I know this is going to sound really self-serving, but like I'm like, where's that restaurant that I loved?
Yeah.
Oh, that's in Chicago. That's what we're showing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But also great town for music.
Amazing.
It's just that it bothers me as much as it probably bothers you that this band is so good and has had so many good albums, so many good songs, and you get to the like I remember when I was pitching to have you guys play my birthday party.
Is this leading it to us being irrelevant now? Is that what you're saying?
No, not
Just
at
pull
all.
the Band-Aid off already. will
Not
you?
at all, not at all. The I was talking to the Hard Rock and I go Saigon Kick and they were like, sounds right. And then I go, Love is. And they go, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, that you guys are missing out on the rest.
Look, I mean, we're super lucky that, you know, first of all, I think a lot of this is Phil and I have such a long history together, but to be able to get together at this point in our life, spend a couple of weekends doing shows and celebrating some of these records and songs. Yes, you could have been Zeppelin or the Beatles and those massive bands, but
Right.
the fact that we've got to make a life in music and, you know, I'm not a Walmart greeter yet. It's
Right.
pretty unbelievable.
That's the thing. If you've been able to be a man of your age and not having to bag groceries somewhere,
hey.
you have a real job.
You know, so Addie said she didn't have sex. I mean, really,
I called her out one time and she got annoyed with me. Like I had asked her a ridiculous question, and I got to be honest, you're a good-looking guy. I mean, you're not the kind of guy you go, no, I didn't have sex with him. Like I'm sure girls have denied having sex with me before. I get it, but in your case, especially at the time, you know. Anyway,
this is all leading to the degradation of the quality of our looks and music.
No. I believe you've all aged like fine wine. Very gray
And uncorked fine wine.
Yeah.
a nice box, a Chardonnay. Or something.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Addie again.
Hello.
This thing on.
I didn't have sex.
Okay, so what is the most difficult song that you've had to, I guess, kind of relearn and replay?
Well, we're coming here actually May 24th, and I mean we were doing these records that we didn't get to do last time. The Water record and some songs off this record called Devil in the Details, and so there's a few songs that are a little more progressive. You know, especially on the drumming set, I think some of Phil's best
What are you
work.
saying?
Yeah, you better start practicing.
But it's just fun. I mean, it's just it's fun to kind of because these are songs that like at that point we kind of stopped doing anything.
Right.
So those two records, we did a lot in Asia and stuff like that, but here we didn't really tour them very much. So it's kind of a neat opportunity to just play some of those tunes and bring them to life.
I look as a fan. I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing you guys on stage together. Did you get heat, Phil, for rejoining Jason and doing this? Because there's so much.
Well, I think the stories that are out there, again, have a lot of yeast in them, and people are going to make whatever they, out of whatever they read or whatever. But look, Jason and I went through a lot of stuff, 30 years. But one of the things that I feel is most important about this is now it's legacy. Okay, we did something out of South Florida that not many bands can say they did.
Yeah.
And whether people want to talk about, Love Is on the Way I'd rather have one hit than no hit.
I like to think of us as the U2 of Walgreens.
But I want to point out, I love Is on the Way. I was not disparaging that song at all. It's just I remember the first time seeing you guys live was at Penrod's on the beach.
Oh, wow. Is that with the Stray Cats?
I was
no,
there.
it was the Memorial Day concert for, what was that, She's Only Rock and Roll, whatever that station
No, that was Stray Cats.
That was Stray
Was it
Cats?
Stray Cats?
And Night Ranger, right?
Night Ranger, right. And because there were 2 years that I went. 1 year, this loser went by himself. I moved to Miami, I didn't know anybody, and I find out that this concert is happening. So I go down there, and 1 year John Bon Jovi showed up at Aldo Nova when they were playing. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So I go to see you guys, and Body Bags. You're playing Body Bags, and I was like, this is fantastic. I go, this band is great. And I had been a fan of some of the music, but I mean, seeing you guys live was unbelievable, and I just way ahead of and different from everything else that was on.
I think the curse and the blessing for us is that even back then, we were never a genre-specific band. So at the time, you had two camps. You had this kind of hair band camp, and I don't mean that as an insult.
No,
I mean
there was
the hair band stuff, and those bands really didn't like us because we were too weird and heavy.
Right.
And then once we had the success with the ballad, the grunge movement couldn't touch us. I mean, Alice in Chains was a hair band before they became Alice in Chains.
Right.
Pantera was, and all those bands, but we didn't. We kind of went down the middle of that. But I think the records have always been diverse and super heavy and had ballads. I mean, but I like Meshuggah, and I like Barry Manilow, and I like Bjork, and
Who
I
doesn't?
like Metallica.
That's the
Now
thing.
I think that's more accepted. Like back in the day, I think it was like you're
You
a
had your
metalhead
camp,
or
yeah,
you were
yeah,
a
for
punk,
sure.
Right.
and you would eat lunch at the school table with those kids. And now I don't think anybody cares. It's just good tunes. And so
Yeah.
actually, it's funny to talking to Corey from Slipknot or these guys. Who I was a huge fan. And it's like it seems like it almost makes more sense. Some of it makes more sense now than it did at the time.
It's funny that you bring up Alice in Chains because I was going to compare you. You guys are a lot like them where they were, put in that grunge thing, but they weren't really grunge. They were a lot more metal than a lot of the grunge bands, and they were also ahead of their time, much like you guys were.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.